welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. So today's story is on, actually it's about childbirth. Isn't that crazy? I want to tell this story. But I do for some reason. And because it's really the first thing that helped me start living out of the box. So about 20 years ago, I was on a beach with my husband, and I was about 25, 26 weeks pregnant, and I thought I was doing things natural. I had a midwife at the local hospital, and I don't know, I thought that I was a little granola-ish or something, I don't know, at the time. And I was on the beach, and a friend of ours who was visiting from out of town said, "Oh, you should hire a doula for your birth." And I was like, "What's a doula?" She goes, "I gotta go, my plane's coming," and so they left. And I had no idea what a doula was 20 years ago. So I was left with this hanging question: what's a doula, and why would I want to hire a doula? So I went to one of the birthing stores because we didn't have Google at the time, and I didn't have my little smartphone to look things up. And so I went to a local children's store, and there were a lot of cards from people that were doulas. And I gathered them all up, and I actually called them on the telephone, and I said, "Why would I want to hire you? You're $300, I think. And what service do you provide?" And so they told me, and the last doula I called, she happened to dare to say to me on the phone that actually this is her words, quote unquote, "I believe having your baby in the hospital is not the safest place." And she just rocked my world. I mean, some of the stuff I may share with you, I don't know if any of it is new or any of it rocks your world or not, but this completely rocked my world. I just had no idea what she was saying. Everything I knew was that hospitals were the safest place to have my baby. So I realized at that moment, if I was going to go on this journey and prove her wrong, that I needed to bring my husband along with me with all the different research, because I thought, if in the small chance she's right, I don't want to be at the other end knowing that she's right and then having to bring my husband through the whole journey too. So every step of the way to prove her wrong, I brought my husband along, and we had meetings with other midwives outside of hospitals, and I found I was really confused because everything I knew was being shifted and rocked, and my thoughts were being changed, and it just was like I didn't know which end was up, and I was pregnant, right? So I was very confused. So I sent this prayer out. I sent this prayer to God, and I said, "God, please give me an answer that I'll never ever look back on, and I'll never question the safest place to have my baby." And that's what I did. 2 weeks later, the hospital where I was going to have my baby, with the midwives, there were 6 midwives. The one midwife called me on a Saturday afternoon. She didn't know me. She said, "Oh, you have gestational diabetes. Your chances are you're going to have diabetes in 5 years, and you're going to have a cesarean. 98% of all the gestational diabetes mothers in our hospital have cesareans. Your child's at higher risk, and you need to see," I think it was an endocrinologist, "on Monday urgently because your numbers are so high." Well, I was pregnant. I had no idea what she was talking about. Diabetes scared me. I didn't know anything about it. And I just fell into this fear trap. So on Monday morning, I did call the endocrinologist, and they couldn't get me in for, I think it was about 8 weeks. Whatever it was, I would be done being pregnant by then, so it didn't seem to be urgent for them. So that was my first red flag. I gave them my test numbers, and they were like, "Oh, no, that's not a problem." And so I was really confused because the people that they told me to call, they were saying opposite things of what the midwife was saying. And so then I called the midwife that was out of the hospital, who we had already interviewed, and I said, "Okay, so what do you think about this? Am I at high risk? Can I not have my baby there?" She said, "No, actually, we just teach you about how to eat and proper nutrition, proper the sugar level numbers." Well, I'm missing that word right now. "And we teach you all that. No, you're not at high risk, and yes, you can still have your baby here." Well, that just felt safer. It felt better. I said, "Do I have to have a cesarean?" She said, "No, actually, not at all." And so right there, I felt like, oh, this is going to be the safest place to have my baby, because having this condition in the hospital already puts me in a statistical level that cesareans are more unsafe than natural birth, right? It's not that, of course, we need them. I'm not saying that we don't need them, but just there are more complications with them, right? So we started down the road at 28 weeks going to the out of hospital midwife, which was a very completely different experience. It was peaceful and calm, and there were 3 birthing rooms that were set up like beautiful, beautiful hotel rooms with hot tubs in them. The midwives had time to talk to me. They remembered my name. They remembered my husband's name. There was just something that just felt really right about it. In some ways it felt too easy or too, I don't know, like something shouldn't be so beautiful or something. I don't know. It just was an amazing experience. And it really empowered me as a mom, as a woman that was about to give birth, as a wife. And I kind of somehow slightly took my power back during this whole transition, instead of giving birth at the hospital. And as it did come down to it, we did hire a doula, and she came to my house about midnight or so on a Sunday night, or maybe about 9 o'clock, and we left for the birth center about midnight. And I had my daughter about 5 a.m. in the morning. We walked into the birth center. There were candles. There were probably about 3 or 4, 5 women maybe waiting for me. The hot tub was ready for me. The lights were dim. It was one of the most peaceful, serene experiences. And I had done hypnobirthing because I asked the midwife at this birth center, why would I do hypnobirthing? I know nothing about it, and why would I pay this money? Again, the same as the doula. And she said, I don't really know. I haven't done hypnobirthing, but I can tell you the women that have done hypnobirthing actually have a lot easier births. She said the hypnobirthing makes my job a lot easier. And I'm like, wow. So I thought, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. If the hypnobirthing makes her job easier and the births actually are faster, which is what she said, I thought, why not? I'm going to try this. So I did hypnobirthing with my husband, and it gave me some relaxing techniques, and it got me out of the fear of what happens when you go into labor and what your body does. It helped me realize that the uterus, when you tighten up, it's going to hold the baby in, but when you relax and get out of fear, the uterus can open up. And so I think my daughter was born within maybe 7 hours of going into labor. Maybe it was 5 hours. Anyway, I think it was three or 4 hours after getting to the birth center. And what they did is they kept changing, why don't you take a shower? Why don't you get in the hot tub? Why don't you kneel? So every time it got more uncomfortable, they just shift positions or shift and had different ideas on how to keep me comfortable and laboring. And it just was a beautiful, peaceful experience. So my next child I actually didn't have in a birth center. I actually decided to have my next child at home, which was a lot faster birth. It was only about 3 hours or less from the time when my water broke till when my son was born. And then we all just went to bed. The midwife left, and it was peaceful and beautiful, and they cleaned up everything. It was really interesting. And then even our pediatrician didn't want us to come to his office the next day. He said, no, you had a home birth, I'm going to come to you. So God bless our pediatrician. He came to see our son, because I think you have to have the baby seen by a pediatrician within 24 hours, something like that. So he came to our house, and the rest is history. Anyway, I just wanted to share the possibilities of natural births, the birth that you want to have, that there really is alternatives out there. And I hope you have a great day today. Thanks for checking in. Bye.